Top 5 largest empires by land. Have you ever wondered how large the biggest empire in history actually was? From one country to the entire world, or just somewhere in between? Let's take a look at the 5 largest empires by land to have ever existed. Number 5. The Umayyad Caliphate. The Umayyad Caliphate covered a massive 5.8 million square miles of land. At its height, the Islamic Empire spanned 3 different continents, stretching from India to Portugal. Founded in 661 AD, after the death of Muhammad in 632 AD, the Umayyad Caliphate was one of 4 great caliphates to have been established after the Prophet's death. The Caliphate is an Islamic state ruled by Muslims. The Umayyad Caliphate was ruled by the Umayyad family, who passed the title of Caliph down on to family members, continuing the family reign. The Umayyad Caliphate's continuous conquests gained more land than any other caliphate around it. At its height in around 750 AD, the Caliphate was home to around 62 million people in Asia, Africa and Europe. Countries included present-day Portugal, Libya, Turkey, Russia, Spain and India could all be found within its boundaries. The empire's vast reach meant that 29% of the world's population at the time lived under the rule of the Umayyad Caliph. It was the greatest empire the world had yet seen. However, it was not to last. In 750 AD, the Umayyad family who led the empire was overthrown during a revolution. The Abbasids were rivals of the Umayyads. They claimed that the Umayyad Caliphate's rulers were not following Muslim beliefs and initiated an open revolt against their rule. After a vicious battle and the death of the Umayyad Caliph, the Caliphate was eventually destroyed by the Abbasids and was taken over. Number 4. The Spanish Empire. In 1469, Queen Isabella of Castile married King Ferdinand II of Aragon. Their union would ultimately result in the creation of the Kingdom of Spain, when their grandson, Charles, inherited both of these Iberian realms. As well as laying the foundation for the Kingdom of Spain, Ferdinand and Isabella also oversaw the formation of the Spanish Empire. In 1492, the Genoese explorer Christopher Columbus sailed to the Americas under the patronage of the Crown of Castile. This land, which would be known as New Spain, was confirmed by treaty as belonging to the kingdom in 1494. From there, the Spanish Empire would continue to expand, bringing Spain great riches and land. Arguably, the Spanish Empire was the world's first global empire. At its greatest height in the 1790s, the empire covered around 5.29 million square miles in Europe, Africa, Oceania and the Americas. This meant that, in the 1800s, around 24.7 million people, the equivalent of 2.5% of the world's population, lived under the Spanish monarchy. The empire's colonies included Mexico, the Philippines, Colombia and California. The Spanish crown also ruled over European possessions at different points in its history, including the Netherlands and parts of Italy. Due to all these possessions and colonies, the Spanish Empire became the first empire to be known as the empire on which the sun never sets. Despite this phrase being commonly associated with the British Empire, it was actually first used in the 16th century to refer to the universal monarchy of Charles V, the grandson of Ferdinand and Isabella. It referred to how, due to the Spanish Empire's greatest size, it was, at any given moment, daytime on at least one part of the empire's dominion. It could be said that, due to its many colonies which stretched around the globe, the Spanish Empire's greatest and lasting legacy has been its language. Today, more than 400 million people speak Spanish in 31 different countries. This makes Spanish the second most widely spoken first language in the world. In due course, however, the Spanish Empire retracted entirely. colonies fought for their independence, and other world powers used their military might to force Spain to release colonies from their dominion. Whilst the exact reasons for the Spanish Empire's eventual decline are hotly debated, war with the great power nations, including France and the United States, as well as internal political destabilization, are generally regarded as the main causes. Number 3. The Russian Empire. The Russian Empire was at its greatest extent during the 1860s, spanning across 3 different continents: Asia, Eastern Europe and parts of North America. With an enormous territory of 8.8 million square miles, Imperial Russia was home to 170 million people. The Russian Empire had many great leaders, including Peter the Great, Nicholas II, Ivan the Terrible and Catherine the Great. Catherine the Great is sometimes classed as one of the greatest rulers of the Russian Empire, and she was the longest ruling female leader in her country's history. Her reign was called the Golden Age of the Empire. Her reign is thought to have been known as this due to many reasons, including her many successful wars, educational reforms, and her encouragement of many arts. The Russian Empire also played a key role in preventing Napoleon from conquering all of Europe, mainly due to the Patriotic War of 1812, as many Russians fought to stop Napoleon and the French army from taking over their homeland. Imperial Russia lasted from 1721 to 1917. In the aftermath of World War I, exhausted by the conflict, Russia faced social, political and economic problems. What resulted was the February Revolution, when Russia's royal family was ousted from power and replaced with a new system of government. Russia was changed forever, and its empire, as it had been known, was gone, and was instead replaced with a new form of empire, known as the USSR or the Soviet Union. Number 2. The Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire emerged from the unification of many tribes that originated in Mongolia, Asia. Its rule lasted from 1206 to 1368 and covered 9.15 million square miles and a population of 110 million people, more than 25% of the world's population at that time. The Mongol Empire was history's largest contiguous land empire, meaning that all its land was connected as one mass. It reached its height in the 1280s. The massive empire extended from Central Asia, covering the land all the way to Central Europe. To the north, it extended as far as Siberia. To the south and east, it reached into the Iranian plateau and the Indian subcontinent. It was under the leadership of Genghis Khan that the empire was founded. When he died in 1227, the legacy he left was an unimaginable feat with just one ruler. Even today, his impact can still be felt, as 1 in every 200 people are estimated to be direct descendants of Genghis Khan, the equivalent of around 0.5% of the world's population, a total of 16 million people. Due to conflicts with the agricultural population in China who rejected Mongol rule, the Mongol Empire started to decline. Gradually, more and more people joined the insurgents and helped in time to oust the Mongols from power and retake their country. The rebels eventually drove the Mongols out of Beijing in 1368 and formed the Ming dynasty. They expanded their rule until they had reclaimed northern China in 1359. This caused many problems for the Mongol Empire, which eventually led to the downfall of the empire. After the death of its leader, Kublai Khan, in 1294, the empire split into competing states, losing both influence and land, and therefore ending the once colossal reign of the Mongol Empire. Number 1. The British Empire. The British Empire was the largest empire in human history, whose greatest extent was reached in the 1920s. The British Empire consisted of many territories ruled by the United Kingdom. The British Isles were unified under one monarchy in 1603, when King James VI of Scotland inherited England and Ireland from Queen Elizabeth I. This was the first time England and Scotland had the same monarchy. In the decades which followed, the crowns merged until they had formally united in 1707 under the Act of Union. For a long time before then, however, the UK had been expanding its boundaries beyond the British Isles to places including North America. Under Elizabeth I, the age of discovery and exploration was golden, with colonies including Virginia and other American states being founded. This all occurred under what is known as the First British Empire. With the conclusion of the American Revolutionary War in 1783 and the loss of the 13 colonies, the Second Empire came to be. By 1913, the British Empire was home to a colossal 412 million people, or 23% of the world's population at that time. By 1920, it covered 24% of the world's land, a massive 13,700,000 square miles. Its colonies included Canada, India, Australia, New Zealand, Egypt, South Africa, Yemen, Jamaica, and many others. As the British Empire expanded, it spread its cultural, legal, linguistic, and political beliefs worldwide, with these systems continuing to influence the countries that were once ruled by the British Empire today. Yet, after the two world wars, the British Empire declined greatly, with the empire becoming an increasingly distasteful form of rule. Many of Britain's colonies asked for independence. The British government indicated a willingness to assist any of the overseas territories willing to pursue independence. As such, in 1926, the British government agreed the Balfour Declaration. This recognised Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa as completely independent countries. In 1947, India and Pakistan were also granted independence. The last British possession to become independent was in 1997, when Hong Kong was formally handed back to China. However, even so, 14 territories are still under British rule today, including Bermuda, Gibraltar, and the Falkland Islands. Despite the formal fall of the British Empire, the United Kingdom still exerts its influence over these territories, as well as through the British Commonwealth. Initially formed alongside the Balfour Declaration in 1926, the 53 current members are nearly all former members of the British Empire. Today, the Commonwealth has over 2.4 billion citizens, and its declared aim is to help countries achieve development, democracy, and peace, by creating a powerful voice for smaller and vulnerable states. Whilst perhaps no longer head of the British Empire, Queen Elizabeth II of the UK is head of the Commonwealth, and as such is recognised as the legal Queen of the Commonwealth lands. So there are the 5 biggest empires by land in human history. Do you agree with my categorisation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you learned and enjoyed. Thanks for watching.